Minnesota Statute 120B.12, reading proficiently no later than the end of third grade, more commonly referred to as reads well by third grade, is part of the world's best workforce legislation in the state of Minnesota. This statute was adopted in 2011 with the goal of every child reading at or above grade level by the end of third grade. According to the Minnesota Department of Education website, reading well by third grade is one of many developmental milestones in a child's educational experience. Providing quality curriculum, instruction, and assessments is the foundation for developing comprehensive systems of support for all learners. As a requirement of Reads Well by third grade, all Minnesota public school districts and charter schools must create a local literacy plan that is posted on the district or school website. This plan must address the following components: identifying students not reading at grade level at the end of kindergarten, first, and second grade using a locally established assessment plan, notifying and involving parents of students identified as not reading at grade level, providing research-based intervention for those students identified as not reading at grade level, and providing professional learning to staff on research-based literacy instruction.
Third grade is known as a transition year where students move from learning to read to reading to learn. According to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, the United States has an overall gap of two-thirds of its children testing significantly below in reading. In the state of Minnesota, the racial achievement gap is significant, with just over half of Hispanic third graders meeting proficiency on the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment in Reading in 2011. Proficiency rates for other racial groups in third grade were not much better. 58% of black students, 60% of American Indian students, and 69% of Asian third graders meeting proficiency on this same assessment that year.
We asked various stakeholders, parents, teachers, students, administration, and central office staff to share their perspectives. These are their perspectives.
Think why learning to read is important because when you get older you have to read bigger textbooks in middle school or high school or college.
To read is very important because you have to learn to read books. You have to do it to learn, and just to read in general, you have to be able to read. So it's very important to your life.
Future principals who aspire to lead at the elementary level, it is imperative we fully understand this policy and all of the requirements within it. We must start by knowing and keeping current on best practices in reading instruction so we can recognize whether the instruction occurring within our classroom is truly what is best for our students. We must know and understand the local literacy plan created at the district level in which we are employed, as well as the assessments established by the district and the data provided by them. Lastly, in collaboration with our staff, we must also develop systems to notify parents of those students identified as not reading at grade level and provide them with supports and strategies to work on at home.
The goal of Minnesota's Reads Well by third grade legislation, while ambitious, is a necessary piece in addressing the state's racialized achievement gap in reading. As educational leaders, we must respond with a greater sense of urgency to the alarming number of students not reaching grade level reading proficiency by the end of third grade. If we continue to fail at our attempts to provide high quality instruction and intervention in kindergarten through third grade, the results for our students, particularly those of color, will not change and are likely to be far worse since the level of academic rigor will only continue to rise.